So we're here live with the fencing. Up first we've got Epee. This is a sport without priority, so whichever fencer hits first wins the point. If both fencers hit within a 20th of a second, both fencers get a point. If you haven't seen team fencing before, it builds up to 5 points, then you swap fencers to the next, and then you go up to 10, 15, 20, all the way up to 45, at which point you swap weapons. So you'll have 3 people in each team, they'll all fence each other.
Awesome. I'm Emily, and I'm here with
Harry.
Yeah, just to introduce ourselves.
So you'll see at the moment, people are sort of going in and out of distance quite a lot, giving each other a lot of pressure. At this stage of the game, they're sort of really trying to figure each other out, figure out the distance, figure out where they can hit from, and see if they can get the other person to react and sort of get a feel for it.
Yes, this is much more defensive, isn't it?
That's exactly right, yeah.
Far more careful, cautious, and then they're going to, this counts, if they both get a hit, they both get a point, right?
Very nice. So what happened there is the fencer on the left got the other person to commit, and while they were frozen and confused, went straight for a hit against them.
Very nice.
You'll see that generally, it's a much wiser idea to keep your point towards the other person. The more that you're sort of moving your sword around, the less control you've got. And in a weapon like Epee, it's so reactive and it's so defensive that you need to constantly have pressure on the opponent. So sort of moving back and forth slowly towards the left side if you're watching online. Both sort of beating each other's blade. Fencer on the left's just gone for a feint towards wrist. They're getting quite close now, so you'd expect either one of them to do something, or they might not be good enough to think about that. So we'll see.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who goes for the move first. Looks like Lancaster is. Oh, there you go. Another point for Lancaster. So it seems like the Lancaster fencer is much more active, and the York player is much more defensive.
So generally, with this sort of standard offences, what you'll see is that one person will gently push forward, and really the game with Epee is trying to get the other person to commit to an attack at the wrong time,
and then to take the advantage.
Very beautiful. So fencer on the left misses, parries the opponent's response, and then hits them again immediately. Very clean, very sharp.
Very nice.
Score is 3-1 to the Lancaster team. So the Lancaster team this year has been very strong. They've won most of their matches. They've got to the cup match. The York team is roughly half and half in terms of the results so far.
Yeah, and Lancaster won last year. And that was another point to the Lancaster fencers. That makes it 4-1. We've got one more point. They've got one more point to get to win this round.
Exactly. So you'll see that the fencer on the right is getting more and more hesitant and more awkward. And with that, the fencer on the left is sort of knowing that they can put some pressure on it. It's a very psychological game. Yeah. Generally, you're really trying to sort of
psych the other person out.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you'll also notice if you're watching on the live stream, the counter's sort of running down. Fencer on the left goes for a beautiful lunge.
And that's 5-1 to Lancaster.
So what's also worth noting is from now, we'll be going up to 10 points, but it's not a new match. So the fencer on the right, the York team can catch this up. And you'll see in fencing, it's very easy to have a sudden turnaround.
Oh, absolutely.
So, for instance, in the Olympics a couple of years back, the German team was up 40-27. And the last fencer just had a bit of a mare and lost.
And lost it, yeah.
Very tough watch.
Yeah, but we've got our fencers swapping round now. So Lancaster won the fencing last year, and York won the year before. So we're really excited to see who's going to win this year. A very even playing field.
You can see Nat, the men's ones captain on the right, is sort of having a bit of a coaching talk.
Absolutely.
Strictly, that's not allowed, and he should get a red card.
Seems that the refs let it go.
If you want to tune in later, it's quite a high-energy team, and he's quite a high-energy captain, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of drama to watch.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very excited to see what's coming. We're seeing them both set up with their defensive, very, very slow moving back and forth, waiting to see who's going to make the first move. Slowly
moving a bit closer. Really, you probably don't want to be quite this close when you're fencing Epee, because at any point, it's so easy to just get someone hit you on the wrist. But as they do it, you'll see they're sort of beating each other's blade. Point on the left there, so it's 6-1. Lancaster's just won the first point of the next section. But as they go forward, they're testing this distance by sort of beating it to the blade, trying to see if they'll get a response. So you'll see some fencers will try and immediately block it out, some will go for a hit, and from that they're sort of learning from each other.
They're seeing what the other person's strengths are.
And if you watch the fencers between bouts, they'll all be chatting with each other and sort of talking about, small habits that the other people have, little personality quirks or gaps in their game.
Oh, absolutely. All trading information.
Sneaky little people.
Yeah, sneaky
really
little hints.
And a double. So both lights are on, so both fencers get a point in Epee.
That makes it 7-2.
And the Lancaster fencers being a little bit more aggressive, sharper movements.
Definitely
really,
seeing that gap opening up now.
Yeah, you can see the confidence is increasing. They really know that the other person's going to be getting quite stressed. The York team's going to be trying very much to come up with something new
and see if they can catch up.
Absolutely, very nice.
Oh, nice.
So fencer on the left gets him to commit, steps in too close, and immediately goes for this beautiful counter-attack.
And that makes it 8-2 to Lancaster.
So legs in Epee go for 3 minutes each. These are timed. When we get to foil later, that'll be 3 minutes as well.
Yeah.
And Saber is untimed. Epee's by far the slowest pace. Beautiful. Same thing again. Gets the fencer on the right to overcommit and goes for a beautiful counter-attack.
So that makes it 9-2 to Lancaster. So Lancaster only needs one more point to win this round as well. And the York player is much more hesitant now.
Absolutely.
You have to play much more carefully.
I don't want to call it too early, but I think York's going to have a bit of an uphill battle here.
It does feel it.
Very nice double.
Very nice. So that's 10-3 to Lancaster. And they're shaking hands, very, very friendly, very camaraderie. And they're now swapping to the next two fencers. And we shall have to see whether York can pull this back.
So fencing's got quite a tradition to it. It was one of the earliest games to be included in the Olympics. It was one of the originals, so back when it was sort of just running and sort of sprinting and all that nonsense. But as a result, you've got quite a few old mannerisms to it, and its popularity abroad is actually significantly higher than in the UK. And sort of here, it's got sort of seen as this sort of elitist sort of off sport, and outside in sort of more in like Hungary, it's a major game. Hungary actually has won most of its Olympic medals for fencing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's also very popular in Poland and in France, where there's a strong tradition of it.
Yeah, far more so than here. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we've got our next two up. And we'll have to see whether York can pull this back a little bit, or whether Lancaster has the complete upper hand.
So Astrid on the left is a very strong fencer, but as you can see, they've got a different grip, and it's this sort of different, it's a pommel grip it's called, and it gives you much less defensive control and much more sort of attacking control, a bit of extra reach.
Yeah.
But because of how you're holding it, you get less strength, whereas very nice, very nice.
Very nice.
So as you go past, the person who runs past can't win the point. The other person, if they hit, can.
Yeah. So that makes it 10-4 to Lancaster still currently, but York is making an attempt to bring it back.
Very nice. Spotted a gap, spotted a pause, saw that there was this rhythm of how the guy was stepping in on the right, and went straight for a step lunge.
Absolutely. So 11-4 now.
So from my memory, Astrid is typically a saber fencer.
Yeah.
And so as a result, they've got these much more sort of erratic, dynamic movements.
Oh, absolutely. Much different to the rest of them.
And much more explosive footwork, which leads to sort of an unusual feel for an epeist.
Oh, yeah.
Which is quite hard to adapt to if you're not used to it.
Yes, it must be a little bit harder for the York player to anticipate the moves.
And a very unconventional jump in, followed by a counter-attack on the left.
Very nice. That makes it 13-4 to Lancaster. They're doing an absolutely fantastic job so far.
We've got a 2 minute. We've got a 2 minutes left on the clock. As you can see, this match is progressing quite a lot quicker than previous ones.
Oh, absolutely. Much more aggressive attack than we've seen so far.
So fencer on the right seems to not have a clear strategy of what they're wanting to do.
No.
They're stepping in. They're much more controlled, but they're much more anxious about what... And you can see they just hit themselves in the face out of frustration.
It's definitely not playing into their advantage, this. much harder to predict the next move. Now it's 14-4. And we've got some much more hesitation.
And a double, so point to both. 15-5.
15-5 is our overall.
To Lancaster.
Very nice. So we've got our Lancaster a much more of an attack than a defence, which is very interesting to see.
That's a nightmare. So as you can see, swapping over kit takes a little while. This is something pretty universal, but the advent of electric fencing was in the last sort of 20 years or so, and it's increased the reliability of the sport significantly.
Absolutely. We can see immediately who has got the point because it flashes up with the score and a little light on our little piece of equipment, which tells us who got the hit and who has the point.
Absolutely. And you can see before they start, they sort of tap swords against each other. That's because the guard isn't valid target. So in Epee, your whole body is a valid target area, and you can hit anything. You can see the piece so the piece is the long strip that they're all conducting the sport on. This is and a point to the left for Lancaster, 16-5.
16-5.
And this piece is conductive, so what it does is it makes sure that any hits to the floor don't get registered, so that you know that it's actually been a hit to the body.
And not the floor, and they have to stay on it. So if they come off, doesn't count.
Fencer to the right goes in for a bit of a bold lunge, and then brilliantly goes for another counter.
We're out now. York are doing their best to even this playing field, although Lancaster has quite a significant lead at the moment.
You can see Fencer on the right's a little bit more clear with what they're... Oh, it didn't pay off that time. Very good opportunity from the Lancaster team.
They very much took their opportunity there. The Fencer on the right definitely has the right strategy. It's just not.
They've got a game. They've got a plan. This isn't just stepping in and seeing.
They absolutely know what their strategy is.
Oh, maybe they're a bit sleepy now. We'll see. It's an interesting one because it's a little similar to other sort of combats. Oh, and a lovely example. Just waiting for that overcommit from the left.
17-7. Play on the right is very much, that defence is really paying off. Oh, and again.
Interesting. Steps in, takes a parry, blocks the blade out of the way, and then goes for a hit.
That makes it 17-8. York is really pulling back on that advantage.
This time, Fencer on the left goes for a lunge, same as the last few points, but manages to have much more control and gets that point.
They absolutely anticipated the player on the right's move then. 18-8 now.
And another point scored quickly.
One.
Same sort of thing. Fencer on the right lost confidence and clarity a bit and was probably thinking about the previous point.
Absolutely.
Rather than what they wanted to do this time.
Very psychological game.
They've switched back.
19-9. Oh, and again, it was a very nice move. And that makes the score 10-20.
Much stronger leg from York there. That was pretty good.
Absolutely. They're slowly eking back on that hold that Lancaster has on the upper hand.
Still very much an uphill battle.
Oh,
Sisyphus
definitely.
would see this and think, no, I don't want that. And these slow changeovers are definitely a hassle. But before Electric Kit was brought in, you had to have about 4 or 5 different referees because you'd want someone watching.
You need to be able to see every angle,
every single thing. And it's so hard, if you're watching, it's so hard to see the blades move and it's so hard to tell what hits.
Oh yeah, they're moving so quickly.
And there's a lot of controversy around sort of corruption in the sport and so on. Lots of Russian money in there.
Yes,
it's
I can imagine.
Good. So Putin's right-hand man is a very famous Saber referee called Milinchev. Not necessarily the... Well, yes, anyway.
Yeah, getting a history lesson.
So Fencer on the left, I believe Astrid is sort of being intentionally a little and goes for a really nice reprise. So a reprise is when you go for an attack and then you go for it again immediately afterwards when they're off balance.
Yeah, and that makes it 21-10.
Oh, okay, nice.
Both playing a very defensive game right now, bidding their time, waiting to see what the other person is going to do.
So what we'd be expecting to see here is you're having to come up with some new strategy, some new clarity about what they want. And they've all seen every fencer now, so they know what's coming.
So they know exactly what's going to come now, and they just have to implement what they've seen and try and take it and implement it into their own game.
And if you're in the room,
very nice.
And if you're in the room now, you'll see that the fencers sat on the benches will be talking to each other about strategy.
Oh, absolutely. They'll be talking. They'll be taking in what the others are saying and making changes to their own game plan to hopefully get that lead over their opponent.
Very slow progression here, and then a slightly disappointing point where fencer on the right didn't do anything and just got hit.
So that's 23-10 to Lancaster. They're definitely playing a much stronger game today, I think has been seen in the last couple of weeks in their training.
And if you're thinking fencer on the left is being a little unusual, they absolutely are. They're taking the mick a little bit. They know that they're in control here. They've got the lead. Swapping arms, not conventional at all.
Very strong lead.
Very definitely taking the mick, trying to get a bit, and it doesn't pay off.
Oh, and it backfired.
Fencer on the right goes for a hit. Very nice point. 11-23.
Nice. They're definitely going to have to bring that back in. You can't get too complacent.
No, these kind of mind games are quite common in the sport.
Absolutely.
Everyone's unacceptably annoying and shouldn't be spoken to. And a point on the right.
Oh, very
Same
nice.
system as the last one, except this time executed really cleanly. Very, very nice.
It makes it 12-23. York is trying to slowly eke back those points that they lost in the last couple of games.
And Astrid will be thinking, oh, hang on, wish I'd not been so lazy and messed around so much.
We'll definitely now be pulling back on that strategy to make sure that they're very, very much covering every base.
You can see they're a lot more defensive now, just doing these circular actions, trying to take the blade and get control, get the opportunity to go.
Yeah, it's definitely calm down into the defence now.
This isn't even necessarily what you want. You want to be proactive, trying to set these up intentionally. These sort of vague, passive motions. Oh, and a step back, that's something new. These sort of motions won't create new ground for you to take.
No, they've definitely overdone it in the last couple.
Good
That was
spot
another
there.
point.
Saw the eyes glaze over on fencer on the right and went straight for a lunge. Point to Lancaster, 24-12. And now the cockiness is back. It's
now they've got another
in
point.
full force. We'll watch something silly happen again.
They'll have to try not to lose another point.
And rushes it again, as you'd expect.
24-13.
Very nice counter-attack. Very nice counter-attack from the right.
York is definitely doing a good job of spotting those open moments where the cockiness has come back in full force and taking advantage of them.
And a massively overcommitted lunge. That would be a really good opportunity to have gone for a hit straight afterwards. So what fencer on the right will be doing now is trying to set that same situation up again,
and
potentially.
Taking the opportunity,
Exactly, Emily. Bit more counter-offensive. Oh, very nice. That was a lovely point from Astrid. Very good.
Very nice. That makes it 25-13 to Lancaster currently. A very interesting game, that one.
When did these jackets come in fashion?
I don't know. They've got a lot of them. Got them.
Very like American,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's just American
jackets,
culture coming over here.
They're very
Politics
nice.
soon to follow.
Yeah. And marks out York's fencing team nice and brightly with their themed matching fencing jackets and t-shirts. Now we've got our players swapping over again. And facing someone new, but hopefully they will have talked to their team and will have a strategy planned coming into this. You'll definitely need to be drawing back on that advantage Lancaster currently have over them.
York fencer looking a little bit nervous, but seems to have a bit more clarity. I think they just had a bit of a sort of talking with the M1's Epee anchor.
We'll definitely have a plan going forwards into this match.
Both pretty sharp and confident, actually. This is looking good so far.
It is. Both very defensive. It'll be interesting to see who goes first.
Much clearer, sharper movements. That's what you want to see in good fencing. Clarity of intention, clarity of movement. Lovely point.
Very nice.
If you're watching, you'll have seen that was a double, but both fencers much more switched on. This is good stuff.
26-14 now. And they're very much both heads in the game.
What I'd expect to see here is about sort of 4 points in. They might lose focus on their plans. There'll be a few points that... Oh, lovely.
Oh, lovely.
Perfect opportunity spotted. Perfect distance from fencer on the left.
That
Lancaster wins a point.
Another point for Lancaster. 27-14. They're really pulling ahead of York right now.
Fencer on the right still keeping it together. Still keeping it clear.
Absolutely. They've not let this affect them so far.
If you're listening on radio, the fencer on the left has just run to the back line of their piste, of their side of the piste, pulling a bit more control, doing something a bit unusual, trying to create a new sort of feel to the game.
Absolutely. They'll have to be careful that they stay in.
And distances.
Oh, lovely. Lovely shot
very
from
big
player
mistake
on
on
the
the
right.
left, and right capitalises strong. So they lost attention to the distance, got closer.
Another point. That's another point to York, which brings it to 27-15. Oh, very nice. Another
Beautiful
point to
parry.
York.
Fencer on the left goes for a step lunge with the same timing he's had for the rest of the fight. Fencer on the right knows this, takes an amazing circular parry and hits and riposts immediately, getting the point.
Fencer on the right is certainly taking advantage of this position that they found themselves in.
This is good stuff. Both of them have learnt from each other and are starting to develop a new game. Oh,
The
bit of
teams
an
have
overcommit.
definitely had some discussion about tactics going into this. They both settle back into their defensive. It'll be interesting to see who moves first.
You'll see the fencer on the left is allowing one blade contact and then getting out of the way.
Yeah,
That's because previously they were keeping the distance closer and then lost from there. They might now try and set up another opportunity from that.
They're
Get
absolutely
a bit closer, but then go for the attack
Oh,
just like that.
nice.
Point on the left. Very nice.
Very nice. It's 28-16 to Lancaster.
It's very easy to get slightly distracted by the small details when you're doing something like this.
Oh, definitely.
If you can get someone thinking about the wrong kind of thing and just for a brief moment forget,
you've got
you're
to
about to get hit,
absolutely
then you will.
concentrate on the whole game on the game as a whole, and not just on what's happening right in front of you.
It's a bit like driving, sort of where you've got hundreds of people running out in front of the road in London.
Oh, yeah.
If you switch off for a moment, it's very bad news.
Yeah. Oh, again, very nice from the fencer on the right. That's another point to York.
Lovely
Makes it
parry.
28-17.
So the mistake on the left there was that same timing of that step lunge, but they even knew that they'd made it while they were doing it. And you could see they did it slower and more awkwardly, because as they started, they thought, oh, blow,
They
this
were
is
expecting
not a good idea.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Oh, lovely
Gets the fencer
shot.
on the right to step in, goes for a step lunge, gets an attack on preparation.
That's 29-17 to Lancaster. They're both
And now
very
you can see
measured
York a little
yes.
desperate, but sort of
But
fencer on the
still-
left,
still
much
keeping
more
that
relaxed,
under
knows that
control,
they've got it in
really.
control. But still much sharper than we've seen previously, as Emily says.
Fencer right really has to keep it together if they don't want to lose focus of the game as a whole.
Very easy to throw it away here. It's the last point now before we swap sides. We've got 30 seconds left on the clock. At this point, they know they've got to make something happen if they want to have an impact.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh. That's fine. So we'll both be starting in the same place.
Absolutely.
They'll move back 1 metre because the fencer on the left ran off, so it's not their responsibility to go back.
And they're heading back out into that very defensive, very careful. Oh,
Lovely.
There we go.
Goes for that same step lunge as earlier, gets parried as he expects, steps
then
back
really
and then goes
pulls
for it again,
yes.
knowing that the other fencer will be going for an attack, can get them early. Very smart.
That makes it 30-17 to Lancaster. They really have the upper hand on York currently.
You can hear the energy from the home team. And now we reach that most beautiful, tender of moments where we slowly swap over and have to sit here for another 30 seconds.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have any fun facts?
No.
No, tragedy. I'll try and think of some myself.
I was going to say, I know Lancaster has had an extra 8 sessions for prep for Roses. I'm not sure how many York have had, but I know that they've had some extra training sessions
They've had
recently.
A few. They've claimed to be training 3 times a week.
Yep,
I don't believe this to be true, but I've heard it
I've also heard that
from the horse.
Both teams apparently training 3 times a week in preparation for the run up to Roses. Which is really a very exciting time.
Very
nice.
So we'll have paid attention, watched and known that Astra will go for that counter-attack, taken the parry and riposted immediately. 18-30 on the York side there.
Very nice.
Astrid going for another rush. Right, tries to
unlucky.
take it and then makes a mistake. Astrid just keeps going.
That makes it 31-18 for Lancaster. Both fencers are really, really reading each other quite well so far this match.
Very
again,
good.
another point to
genius
York.
moment. Knows that Astrid's going to jump in, goes for that counter-attack to wrist. So
Very
precise.
much definitely predicting these now, which
Yeah,
makes it
very good read.
1931.
As Emily says, they're starting to... Lovely.
Oh.
Pushed a bit close. Astrid spotted this, went for a hit. They're a Saber, so they've got a very good sense of distance, but not necessarily the cleanest of point control.
These two are very, very evenly matched, I think.
Being a bit silly again. As a result, might get smacked.
Has maybe, instead of too much of the cockiness, point to each. That makes it 33-20 to Lancaster.
Now, I literally can't count, so I thought it was going to be 32.
I nearly read
and another
32.
double.
That makes it 34-21.
So they're keeping it much closer than initially expected. At this point, you could very much claw it back.
Oh, definitely. York aren't letting Lancaster get any further away from them.
And
another point to York.
Same thing as the first point. Got Astrid to jump in at the wrong time, took a parry, knew it was coming. Same parry, same riposte.
Definitely leaning into that little bit of cockiness coming from Lancaster.
And if you're new to the language for this, a parry is when you block the opponent's attack, a riposte is when you respond to that by going for a hit, and a counter-attack is when you attack into something where the other person's trying to attack.
And another point to Lancaster.
So same timing again from Astrid then, but this time just getting them on the wrist, slight change of the moment.
That makes that, which is so far a very good match. Very good match from them. York aren't letting them slip away too far into the lead.
No, we don't want to be biased wrong here. In terms of other fun facts, fencing has been around for so long that there's actually 4 types. There's Saber, Foil and Epee, and the last one is Bayonet.
I haven't read about that one.
No, I think they still do it in the army a little bit,
yes,
but
we're
it might
not
be
doing
retired
that
by
here
now.
today.
You can see in the background the foilist sort of warming up, getting ready.
Oh, absolutely. And we have a very similar.
That was that counter-attack we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Fencer on the right goes for a step lunge. Fencer on the left hits them on the wrist as they do it. Very clean.
Very clean. That makes 36 to 20.
Quite tricky to pay attention to and understand. Oh, lovely.
Oh,
very
nice. Another point to York, which is 23-36.
Bit more pressure. I wasn't expecting that to work, but Fencer on the left
This is a lot
gets
of
a point.
pressure. Very active game, this one. And then far less defence.
And a
just an
fantastic stop hit.
overextension
So a
from
stop
York.
hit's a type of counter-attack. Very, very nice. Very beautifully done.
That's 38-23 to Lancaster. And again...
And a bit awkward, but
very,
made the
very
most of it.
fast.
Sometimes the best thing to do is just be obsessively consistent and just keep going for it.
Absolutely.
Some sheer bloody-mindedness.
We're now at 39. As I was speaking, another point to Lancaster. We're now at 40-23, and that's the end of that one.
Fencer on the right got a little distracted there, lost clarity on what they were trying to do. You can see they're a bit disappointed with that last one.
I can imagine.
At this point, it's still all to play for.
Oh, definitely. Could all turn around. Never know.
If I were a betting man...
Lancaster really have that slight upper hand. If they've had a once over of tactics and kind of switch up their game a little bit.
So this is the last match that we'll be having of Epee for this set of teams. At this point, we'll see a little bit of pressure. We'll be expecting the fencer on the left to have a real uphill battle of maintaining concentration on this. It's quite possible York will pull back quite a large amount of this lead before the left switches back on again.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of pressure now on Lancaster to keep this lead up.
And you can see they're being a bit goofy. They've run to the back. I think probably imitating Astrid and sort of seeing what fun they can have with that.
Definitely on the defence more. And the York player testing.
And he's losing concentration here. If he doesn't keep it, he might not be able to capitalise on this opportunity. Yeah.
Very nice.
Nice clean hit to arm,
24-40. Far they can push that defence.
Lancaster being a bit playful, coming up with a few different ideas, seeing if they can psych York out. This giving of space, this walking backwards is quite uncommon. You'd only really do this if you know you've got the upper respect. Very common, very sort of common behaviour, that is, not necessarily that specific movement, just to try and
Just
get in
try
the
and
head of the
psych
other person, you know.
Yeah, a very, very psychological game, this.
Lovely.
Another
So
point to
parry,
Lancaster.
counter parry, riposte. Very clean.
Nice. 41-24 to Lancaster.
That was so clean, it was probably planned. They probably went in for that lunge knowing that they were going to be going for parry afterwards, so they can get that final action.
Absolutely fantastic tactics.
And the reason it works so well is fencer on the right, the York fencer, is very defensive until the last minute, until the distance is very close.
Yeah.
So instead of letting the distance get that close, they're sort of engaging from further away and going for something
And
new.
then going straight for it.
Very nice, very nice.
That makes it... And they definitely have the upper hand here.
And York fencers really following at this stage. This isn't what you want to do. You want to make sure that you're clear on your own game plan.
Oh, yeah,
If you're only
absolutely.
reacting to the other person, it's too late. You won't be able to get this.
Yes, so you can't predict
Lovely.
all of that.
Very nice. Fencer on the left gets a step lunge at just the right distance, just as the York fencer steps
That
in.
makes that 43-24. A very clean game from Lancaster so far.
Creating a bit of pressure. This
Really,
didn't work out so well last time.
It didn't, but we'll have to see whether... Oh, there
And
we
again,
go. And
and
again,
again.
it didn't work out. That makes 25-43, with York just eking out another point.
So if you're watching as well, the reason that the back line is that brown one is that if you go off behind that, automatically the other person will get a point. If you go off to the side and you're doing it like because you've run past the other person, that's okay. But if you run off to the side to avoid a point, you'll get a penalty and you'll get a card against you.
York.
At this point, I think they're a little distracted by the score and by the stage of the game rather than by the strategy they're wanting to put in.
So that's 26-43. York really scraping that back, using Lancaster's slight hesitance to really get these points in on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a double. So that makes 44-27.
Exactly. If you're the York fencers, you want to be doing everything you can to avoid doubles at this stage.
Oh, definitely.
Everything single light, everything on you only.
Yes, you definitely don't want to be opening yourself up for the other team to gain a point right at this stage. Really testing each other's boundaries right now. Oh, and another double. 20. That makes it 45-2. Went straight for it.
That was a very good match, actually.
It was very good.
You could see people back up.
Oh, absolutely.
And how that pressure comes on.
Can flip the script in the next game, or whether we'll keep Lancaster domination.
No, I'm not sure what's happening here. It might be that they're saluting. Usually this would wait until the end of the match, but
I think not sure they're entirely sure what's happening here either.
a lot of love for everyone here.
There we go. We've got all our players congratulating each other on some very good games, and then heading back to their respective teams.
So a little unusually, they're all shaking with their gloved hand. Normally that would be seen as a massive sign of disrespect.
Yeah.
You'd shake with your ungloved hand or you take your glove off.
lot of rules. Unspoken rules.
A lot of
this,
rules.
Yeah.
If you're thinking it's ridiculous, you're exactly right. This is a stupid sport. And I wasted many years of my life on it.
Really.
Sorry, yes,
yeah.
of course. Sorry.
So we're waiting for the next matches to be set up. I think. Which one are we moving into now?
I believe we're moving into the foil. So,
amazing.
So foil is a priority weapon. I'll go into that in a second, but sorry, excuse me. If you can see that they're wearing these sort of mesh. Mesh isn't maybe the right word. That gives a different vibe. These sort of metal jackets, these lames. The people how to fight with swords without having them get mortally wounded.
Yeah.
So we developed the kit, we developed the rules, all to sort of support that. And as a result, you end up with quite different setups for each of them. And the idea is that the rules mean that a winning point would be a point that would incapacitate or kill your opponent.
Yeah.
Rules are a lot thinner and lighter, and so they cause less damage, so that only the torso is a valid area, because that would be a sort of a mortal wound.
Yeah.
And you also have to hit with less pressure. So the epees are much stiffer, and you have to hit with 500 grams of force, whereas for foil, I believe it's 250. It might be 300. Oh, and a turnaround. That's not good. It's not a nice idea. forward movement across the piste.
Oh, absolutely. We've got 2-0 currently.
And this is due to a thing called priority. So for priority, there's sort of two main things to think about. And one is you end up with this sort of turn-based system where one person's moving forward, and if you both hit, that person gets the point.
Yeah.
And so that's that person having priority.
Oh, yeah.
So how does that come about? Well, that happens in the middle. The first person to commit to an attack gets priority. And a point on the left, 4-0.
We're on
Very,
4-0.
very clean fencing.
Very nice.
So there you are in the middle, and you're wanting to get the attack, so you might commit, and then the other person can take a parry. And any time you miss, you get blocked, priority changes.
That makes it 5-0.
5-0 already.
Yeah.
Now, in Epee, there's a much more of an element, so you can be a lot better, but win by a smaller margin. In Saber, it's the next level up, and then for foil, it's the extreme end, where if you're a reasonable amount better, you can win 15-0.
Oh,
you can absolutely
you can win,
eviscerate
absolutely, yeah.
people. Much more skill-based, much less luck with it. Still a mental sport, but less sort of around resilience and fortitude. So off the bat.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how these go down with currently 5-0 to Lancaster.
Now, I'm not much involved with them, but my understanding is that the men's team is quite level-headed for the York team. I don't know about the Lancasters, but as you can see, they stayed pretty calm under the pressure of that big lead earlier. So it'll be interesting to see whether that's sort of the
one. We'll see.
Yeah.
Preparing for our second bout now, and it'll be interesting to see whether York can claw back this lead or whether Lancaster will continue to dominate as they have so far today. It's a bit of discussion happening.
Again, more common for the foilists.
Yeah. Not entirely sure what about, but I'm sure it won't delay things for too long.
Absolutely.
Oh, there we go.
Very good.
They're both preparing to start their bout. A much more
Fencer
exciting...
on the left. Clear attack from the line. That was what we were talking about.
Yeah.
One light.
Much more lightning round, this. Much more of a...
Oh, and they both come close. So that's where you get something called core on core, or like body on body. And that's these close quarters bouts which get sort of fighting sequences that get very intense. Fencer on the left goes off the piste. Restart, step back, goes to the back line as a result.
And we're coming back in.
Same thing again. A little bit awkward, but Fencer on the left gets their tip on target.
That makes it 7-0 so far.
It's where you hit the white part and your body registers that it wasn't a valid hit, exactly. And another clear attack from the left.
Very strong attacks from Lancaster today, up to 8-0.
So Fencer on the right really needs to come up with some new clarity. Not just step in and wait like that, otherwise they're going to get hit.
Oh, absolutely. They really need to come up with a new strategy.
That's exactly what we were talking about priority changing. Fencer on the left beats the blade, takes control, they get priority, and they can then move forward and get that point.
Oh, absolutely. We're now 10-0 to Lancaster, so we'll have to see how this next match carries out.
It is looking a bit rough so far.
It is, but York definitely have the opportunity to pull this back.
Now,
if they have a bit of strategic discussion.
I don't know the anchors, but again, in fencing, the little skill differences, a small gap can have a big lead of 20 points or more in a bucks match. So it's just possible that we've got some wild cards here, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, absolutely. It can change at any minute, this. Especially once they've all played each other, because then we'll get some strategy discussion, and you never know. York may be able to change up their strategy enough to claw back this 10-point lead that Lancaster currently have on them.
So you'll see the fencer on the left, the Lancaster fencer, is Michael Egginton.
Yeah.
He was the anchor for the Epee, so the last person that goes on at the fencing foil. We don't know whether this is his main weapon.
No.
So we'll
have to wait and see how
absolutely
very
language.
Calm for both of them, ready to.
It's adjustment in foil. It's a much more finicky weapon than the others. There's much more stuff that can go wrong, so there's much more moments where something might break and you might have to change it.
Yeah.
Clear attack from the left. This is looking strong already from Michael.
Makes it 11-0 to Lancaster. And again,
even more
incredibly
brutal.
Strong attack, 12-0.
At this point, fencer on the right needs to figure out how to get a parry or how to make this person miss. They need a clear plan on how they're going to defeat this.
This is going to need a bit of a strategic change, I think, and
Absolutely.
we shall perhaps see this going forwards.
So you can see the coach on the side has come and stepped in to straighten the get over the knee. swapping out the weapons. So if your sword bends more than a certain number of degrees, you're not allowed to use it because it can bend around the guard if you're going for a parry.
Yeah. So we have to swap it out, and we'll be restarting again very
To check that it won't go on, you're trying to check it will go on.
It will, yeah. Now, it definitely learned from...
Exactly as Emily says, that was really good, solid improvement, clarity on when the attack was coming.
He's definitely taking those couple of minutes.
And they lose focus and clarity on this one, but hopefully they'll come back into this point with another plan.
Definitely taking this time to rethink their strategy going forwards.
And Fencer on the left went for something different just in case, just to sort of stop the Lancaster, stop the York team from picking them up. Very
nice.
Exactly what we were saying. Exactly as Emily said. Went for that parry, got the riposte. Very good.
Very nice. That makes 113 to Lancaster with a very nice shot from York.
I see a comeback in the future.
Oh, absolutely. On a very much more of an attacking mode now. Got his confidence up.
So Fencer on the left goes for some smart defensive moves, squirrels that point in.
Very nice. 14-1 to Lancaster. That
Probably
makes
going
it.
to go. Oh no, he didn't go for an attack. Sort of looking for something longer.
Definitely
throws it away,
change of
moves
strategy
back,
here.
and then unlucky hit. Now Fencer on the right's just forced body contact to try and pause the point, and then hit after the point. Both of those would normally get a little card at this point, but very kindly the referee's sort of moving on
And
as it's at the end of the point.
So we're still on 14-1.
And another off-target hit, so white light.
We've had quite a few of those so far this game.
Now Foyle's really intense on the skill. Oh wow!
Oh, there we go.
Very clear attack again.
15-1 to Lancaster.
Straight back to that bread and butter attack that he knew would work so well.
Now we'll be swapping players again. I think that is everyone has faced each other now, so they'll have gone through some strategy now, I imagine, and will be more prepared going into the next game.
Absolutely.
For their opponent's fighting style.
So as Emily says, they'll probably be having conversations, trying to figure it out. As long as they can keep the strength up and keep the clarity up to have these conversations now, York still is definitely in with a shot.
Very fluid game, this.
So it's a little different to Olympic fencing if you've ever seen that. So Olympic fencing, you'll have matches to 15 with individuals, and you'll also have a team event where you'll go to 45 in the same way, but you'll keep the weapons separate. So what that means is you get an unusual situation here where, let's say the first two teams were to win 45-0, you'd know the match was already over because the last team can only bring back 45. So it might well get to a point where you sort of look at it and you go, well, factually, there is no mathematical way of this coming back. Which is an unusual sort of atmosphere to have when you're on the team.
Oh,
and it puts a lot of pressure between the different weapons.
Oh, very nice.
Lovely attack.
Very, very nice attack from Lancaster going into this first round. That makes 16-1.
Same sort of attempt at the beginning. Goes for the attack from the left. Takes it up again. Goes for that beat. A lot of very tight blade work here.
Oh, this is
lots
very
of
amazing.
Nice. York goes for a fantastic
Definitely
stop
learned
hit.
from that first
Gets
move.
out of the way.
Very nice defence. That makes 2-16.
Fencer on the left looking a little less confident here, looking a little less aggressive. But as a result, is able to get that fantastic disengage.
That makes 17-2.
Exactly. Goes underneath the guard, hits that small square just underneath the elbow, gets a lovely point.
Very nice.
Now, I do knock on foil, but it is an unbelievably skilled sport.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to have such levels of precision, and it's so easy to get these small off targets. You'd think, looking at it, that a torso should be pretty big, but somehow it gets
really
smaller and smaller as you get closer.
Much more difficult. We've got a little bit of a technical problem with one of the swords. They're trying to straighten out a little bit, and then we'll be back on for our next round.
Now, this is the reason why I don't fence foil. All of the blades, all of the kit is much more fragile than the others, and it's just too much of a hassle. I wouldn't want to be involved.
No, very much more complicated, and this is the second sword that Lancaster's had to deal with mid-match. There we go, we're starting again. Much more defensive manoeuvre this time from York. Unfortunately, didn't succeed, and it's now 18-2 to Lancaster with a very nice attack.
Exactly as Emily says. Probably a bad strategic decision. York needs to be much more aggressive with this.
Absolutely.
Much clearer on what they're doing. Negate that early attack because the fencer on the left's got such a strong attack.
Absolutely. It's now 19-2. York definitely needs to come on that attack.
Brilliant.
And amazing.
Very good change of tempo. That meant the York fencer go for a parry at the wrong time, followed by a clean and gentle finish.
It's now 22 to Lancaster, and we're swapping over to our next two fencers. I think the York team have a little dinosaur mascot down there.
Oh, how sweet. I've forgotten the name of it. So Joe Whitehead, who I don't know what they're doing this year, but previously they've been the president of the club.
Yeah.
Ex-Durham fencer. So if you've been to Durham, obviously it's got the phenomenal sporting facilities and a very good fencing team. They've got a dedicated SAL. It's called a SAL. It's just a room, and they've got a very experienced coach there. So Joe comes with the experience of how to run a club
very
well,
nice.
keep things organised, keep things clean.
Hopefully we'll see that in the coming rounds, with York fighting to keep up with Lancaster's lead. We're currently 20-2 with this round.
And we've got Michael back on again on the left. Michael being the anchor again for the Epee.
Absolutely.
Who came in so strong on the previous bout. Very calm, very clear, good, strong attacks.
Very clean fencing.
You'll see that much more so than in Epee, this is a game based on attacks. Saber even more so.
Oh, absolutely.
Interesting. Joe keeping it sharp,
Progressing
forward. Joe's got priority. Parry, and then...
Oh, very nice gameplay.
Amazing. Keeping it on target. Very good control.
It's now 3-20. A much more aggressive attack from York coming forwards there. Oh, and a double hit.
So on this one, Joe will have started more clearly, started the attack. Joe stops first, then Michael stops.
Yep.
So it's then Joe's turn to go.
Absolutely.
When I say turn, I mean if both of them hit, it's then Joe's point. Lovely
Very
attack
nice.
from the left.
Lancaster has brought it back with their attacking, and far less defensive now, making it 21-4.
Absolutely. We're extremely lucky to have two very, very good referees this time round.
Absolutely.
I would be expecting a little... brilliant counter-attack.
Very nice.
Joe steps in, and at the wrong time, Michael goes for a counter-attack and then blocks the blade out. See Joe getting frustrated.
22-4.
It's quite possible he'll now throw it away by rushing these attacks. He'll
absolutely.
Be much less in control.
Leaving himself open.
Oh, wow.
Oh, very nice.
So Michael there went for a really nice prep, but should have then blocked out and stopped Joe from getting that hit.
So that's now 5-22. Definitely using that. Oh,
and
very
a
nice.
very dodgy hit. Michael maybe not going to be happy with that one. You can see he's sort of clear that he wants to make this bit sharper. Might want to straighten the blade as well.
Definitely bringing this back currently.
Good change, good change,
nice.
Michael.
Now makes it 23-6.
So that was Joe just having the referee check over his kit.
Yeah.
Oh, goes for a preparation
lovely.
and again. Doesn't block it out, so Michael gets the point.
That's now 24-6.
Michael really might want to straighten his blade. That bend is going to
absolutely. Oh, there we go. Another point to
York.
York.
And much harder to practice, and he's doing it now, yeah.
7-24. Some very nice attacking from York going on in this round. Far less defensive.
So very close together.
Oh, absolutely. You can definitely see York pulling back that lead that Lancaster has.
Both stop. Michael on the left starts the attack first. Joe disagreeing because he's a foilist, and then moving on.
So we're now 25-7 to Lancaster. And we are swapping over fences. And it'd be interesting to see whether York keeps up on this attack rather than the defence. It definitely paid off far more in that round than it did the previous.
Absolutely. I think the foilists have been sat there watching the Epee team.
Oh, definitely,
thinking the pressure's really on, we need to not rush this. And as a result, the Lancaster team's come in with a lot of confidence. And if you watch them, they seem to be a bit more calm, clear and drilled.
Absolutely. They've come into this round knowing that they've won the first round, and it's definitely given them an advantage over the York team.
And if you're interested in a little bit of history about the teams, the Lancaster team has a coach who is currently on the international refereeing register, although when you get to a certain age, you're no longer allowed to referee at events. But as a result, he brings a wealth of experience and clarity. With York's cutting of sport funding, we no longer have a coach, and you can see that that's having an impact on the clarity of the drills. And I'd really love to see the Lancaster training at this point, because I think they probably are working on things very cleanly.
Their team is come into this very strong, with a definite advantage over York, as we've seen so far. I mean, they won the first round, and they're currently 25-7 on this round. So it'll be very interesting to see where it goes from here.
So the skill gap is probably pretty similar in the Epee as it has been in the foil. But as a result, because of that foil being so sort of outsized, so extreme, you can see the score difference is very big. Interesting. Fencer on the left going for a defensive motion. We've not really seen that.
And a point to Lancaster.
And it pays off.
Very nice. 26-7.
Fencer on the right looking a bit tense.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they will
As a
know
result,
that they've really
throwing
got
away
to
that
pull
attack.
this score back in York's favour. So
And
that's
then an
another
attack
point.
there. Fencer on the left holding back, knowing that they're going to go for a parry.
Absolutely.
And then going around
Very clean. 27-7 now.
And it's getting pretty close and pretty scruffy.
It is. Tensions are rising. York knows that they've got to keep pushing forwards in order to try and catch up with this Lancaster lead over them. And Lancaster confident with the points that they do have. They're now 28-7.
Very clean, very good distance. Both stepping in. York fence are a little hesitant and giving it away.
Oh, absolutely.
Lancaster getting a nice clean attack. That same one way of holding it back and then going to the opening.
Lancaster really knows they have the advantage over York now, 29-7.
York throwing it away, rushing, really going for that.
Oh,
and then
very
amazingly getting a beat
nice.
counter-attack.
So that's
Both
8
fences.
to 29.
Both fences getting quite riled up and really pushing here.
Absolutely. Makes for a very interesting round for those watching today. And keep pushing forwards. Both of them hesitant to take the first move.
They've both seen that they just lost some strategic space
Absolutely.
there on the previous point and are trying to take it a bit slower now.
Much more cautious.
Oh, and a bit of an ugly one.
Ooh.
Not sure what the referee will call
I'm
here.
not sure. We'll
Attack
have to
from the
see.
left, yeah.
Oh, nice. That's 30-8 for Lancaster, which is ultimately Lancaster winning that round.
So how many points was that for York? Was that 2 points in that match, I think?
I think so.
Yeah, not what they're wanting here. They're really wanting to sort of
Absolutely
claw,
not. The
claw
pressure
this
is
back a bit.
absolutely on for our next fencer from York, and I know Lancaster will absolutely be delighted by the lead they've currently got over 30-8.
You can see the Lancaster team chatting to each other a bit more, smiles on the faces,
absolutely.
a bit warmer, a bit clearer. And at the moment, what we'd want to be seeing is a bit more strategic conversation from the York team.
Oh, definitely. They need to compare notes and to see what they can do to bring back this lead that Lancaster has over them.
100%, Emily. Absolutely.
Right, we'll have to see whether this York player manages to keep their calm in this, knowing the lead that Lancaster has over them.
Exactly. From the previous bout, they seem to be pretty switched on. They were able to adapt quite quickly to the team.
Definitely.
And here,
nice.
very nice attack.
So that's
Watching
9-30. They're definitely taking notes on the previous matches. Oh, and again, very strong
nice.
performance from York so far this round.
So they go for a hit. Fencer on the left takes a parry and riposts, but the fencer on the right already predicts that,
Absolutely.
goes for a parry and hits again.
They've definitely been discussing strategy and changed up their approach going into this round. We're now 10-30 to Lancaster. And again, a very nice performance from York this round.
So Michael at this point will probably want to take a little wander, and you can see he's doing that, delaying a little bit and having a think. Now, based on the time, I think he's probably just thinking about his own game, and he has. He's just made that a bit clearer.
So now we're now 31-11 to York. Lancaster's definitely adapting their strategy to this new round.
What he probably wants to do now is have a think about what the fencer on the right is actually doing and how to defeat that. Not just on his own game. Otherwise,
Definitely
it's going to be a temporary improvement.
So that's 12-31 now. Very strong game coming in from York this round.
Bit more time to think, Michael, otherwise you're going to get stuck on this. Oh, no, gets the point.
Nice.
Both of them go for it.
So that's 32-12 to Lancaster. He's definitely not letting that York fencer get into his head.
And this is that core on core.
Very, very nice.
You'll see the fencers look a little bit awkward especially awkward when they're doing that. And
Absolutely.
That's in part because in the UK we tend to call that a little bit. Oh, and a point from the left.
Point to amazing. So that's now 33-12 for Lancaster.
Absolutely.
Very strong game. He's really pulling that lead back from our York fencer here.
And a bit of an awkward point there. So what I was saying about that core on core is that we call it very, very early. We stop the fencers doing it, and as a result, they don't have the experience. But internationally, that's less common. And referees like this won't be stopping so early, so they really need to stay focused.
Oh, very nice. Another point
Nice
to
and clean, nice
Lancaster.
and clear.
That makes that 34-13. York really has come back with a strong attack this round, but Lancaster isn't letting them get away with it so easily.
And an off-target white light, I think, hits arm or upper thigh there.
Yeah.
Oh, shame from the right.
There we go.
They aren't very clear. Fencer on the left gets that clear attack. 35-13.
Very nice
bit of
match
anger.
from both. very nice round from both of our fencers there. York coming in strong at the start, and then slowly Lancaster gaining that advantage.
Exactly. Michael doing a really great job of keeping his composure, keeping his control, directing what he wanted to do.
Very impressive control of his composure there. We're just swapping over again.
So coming up into the last 2 legs here.
Yep.
Fencers starting to have some sort of strategic conversations now. It's a little bit late. They might struggle to put those into place. Sorry.
No, I'm trying to make sure. They definitely need that, given that Lancaster is currently 35-13 ahead. York will be coming up into this next round knowing that Lancaster won the first match and are currently leading in this second. It'll be interesting to see what effect this has on our York fencer coming into this round.
Fencer on the right, slightly delaying this, trying to get a bit more time to think past.
Oh, absolutely. Thinking into that strategy and thinking into...
From what I remember, fencer on the left has a lot of speed off the line, a lot of control there.
Very, very, very defensive, very straight into that attack, not giving the fencer on the right much time to prepare.
Exactly, they need to have a plan already of how they're going to negate that.
And we'll be interested to see whether they do or not in the next couple of seconds.
Ooh, interesting change. Goes in and pauses.
Much
now onto
slower
the long attack.
Start this one.
Oh, that was a really nice attack, really clean, but it just went off target.
Yeah.
It happens. Oh, he's going for something defensive.
Oh, very nice.
And an attack from the right. Oh, hang on. No, my bad.
Double touch that one was.
My mistake, sorry.
No. Oh.
I'm not sure what's going on here, but something's being paused.
Something has occurred, which I'm sure
I don't know if there's
the
a
scores went
technical
off
issue,
for a second there. I think we're just bringing it back together. So it's 36-13 for Lancaster. Oh, a very nice touch
attack.
right off of the start. 37-13. We're seeing what we've been seeing before from this fencer, which is a very quick, very speedy attack.
So loses the attack there from the left, and then the fencer on the right riposts, getting the point. 14-37.
Yeah. Oh, and again, a very quick, very clean attack, making 38-14 for Lancaster. And again, this is a very quick attack from this fencer, as we've been seeing again and again so far this round.
As Emily says, getting into his bread and butter, and goes for an amazing, from a very awkward parry, gets a lovely clean riposte.
We're now 40-14.
On to the last leg. Now, can you remember the score in the first section?
It was 45 to...
I thought it was about 27, but I could be inventing that.
I'm not entirely sure.
It's getting very, very tight. This is the sort of point where it might become impossible for the York team to win. It might be impossible unless they won 45-0 close to.
Absolutely. So we'll have to see how it goes and see how the York team copes with this current score and whether they can keep their heads in the game or whether they're going to lose it.
Absolutely. So these will be the anchors. So these are the two best fencers on each team for their weapon, coming up against each other in that final section. Really pushing, really trying to clean it out nice and
we'll
clearly.
have to see who ends up with the upper hand out of this match. So far, Lancaster has had the upper hand at scores at 40-14. It'll be very interesting to see from this match who comes out on top for these two fencers. All right, they're ready to go.
Joe keeping it calm and clear on the right,
much more
and
calm,
then
defensive
gets an off-target
motion. Both feeling each other out currently, trying to psych the other out.
And that core-on-core, those close quarters bouts.
And they're both following the very defensive. Oh, there goes York with the attack, and ultimately Lancaster wins the point.
So Joe misses, which is why he doesn't get it as off-target, and then a point on the left.
Yeah.
Nice and calm, nice and patient. Very good from the Lancaster fencer.
41-14. Oh, nice.
And an attack off target there. So Joe goes for a counter-attack. The fencer on the left hits his leg.
It's a very...
Joe getting a bit heated, pushing, really going.
Lots of heat going on here. Both need to keep their heads calm if they want to win the advantage over the other.
As Emily says, and at the moment it looks like the Lancaster team is doing a little bit better of a job of doing that. They know
Absolutely.
they've got the upper hand. They know they've got the experience.
Absolutely. The pressure's all on York now to try and draw back this.
Still a bit of a rushed attack, but gets that parry and gets the attack afterwards.
That makes 42-14 for Lancaster. Definitely keeping a clear ahead.
Bit more close quarters, but nothing comes of it. Start again.
Absolutely. A much more aggressive match than the ones we've been seeing so far from both sides. Both determined to win this round for their team.
And an attack from the right, looks like 15-42.
Very nice.
All to play for.
Very nice. York knows that the pressure is on now.
Slow progression up the piece to the left. Lancaster defence being defensive.
Absolutely. Really
pressuring.
sure. Oh.
That looks to me like an attack to the right. So Joe getting 16-42 now.
Very nice. York really has their head in this game. And a definite strategy going forwards.
Lancaster fencer pointing out that the fencer on the right was not standing in the right place on guard. Probably doing it intentionally just to distract them.
Oh yeah. 43-16 now. With Lancaster in the lead. Now the York fencer much more defensive.
So at the moment, Joe's got priority, but throws it away. Lovely, clean counter-attack on the left.
Very nice. That's 44-16, all to play for.
This is looking tough. Joe progressing again, same sort of feeling as last one,
Absolutely.
and same ending as well.
Won.
Counter-attack to the left. Lancaster really has got this game in their pocket at this stage.
Very nice move from Lancaster to make it 45-16.
As we're swapping over, this is a real moment where the York team is going to have a bit of a struggle to keep things in control.
They've really got to keep their heads in this game now.
For Lancaster,
really
this is very easy for them to sort of swap over and just be ready to go.
Oh yeah.
For York, they need to have these conversations. They need to get warmed up.
Lancaster also really need to keep themselves calm and prepared for the final round.
They also need to
sure
win.
They've really got their
they need
heads
to win
in
at
the
least
game.
3 points, I think.
Yeah. They really need to not get too ahead of themselves now, even knowing that they're in the lead from both of the previous 2 matches. And we're seeing the players congratulating each other, although I think we've lost one of the York players. Oh, there they come. Moam's abandoned en route.
They do get lost easily.
Yeah.
It's understandable. I once got lost in the car park by the library.
I mean, I got lost in the sports centre, so...
To be fair, I've been here 4 years. I came back and was looking around thinking, oh no, has it changed? And it's just not. It's just not.
Absolutely fantastic game from both teams there. Lancaster really has the upper hand going into this next round, but we shall see whether York can pull that one back.
The York team looking a bit too much at the score sheets rather than at the piece, sort of struggling to chew on the food that's been given to them by Lancaster.
Yeah, absolutely. They really need to ignore those scores and to really keep their head on the strategies of the game.
Absolutely, and this is a real game intended to be about dignity and about respect. All of these sort of traditions that are in there, they're archaic, they're silly, but they are also intended. They are important to the people who are doing it, and there's a reason for that. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, and they know that going into this next game, that they've really got to keep in mind why they're doing this and what it's for. I mean, coming from York's loss last year, I know that they'll be really
brutal,
wanting,
wasn't it?
a hard time. They'll really be wanting to win this. I mean, currently Lancaster have the lead, but I mean, it could all change.
Could all change
as we go into this final round.
Admittedly, they'd have to lose 45-3 or all injure themselves, which does happen.
Which could happen. You never know.
I spent most of my time injured. It was a little unfortunate. Yeah,
that is unfortunate.
Yeah. Sort of. I just became the mascot. Really, it was a little. Yeah. Oh well, very embarrassing.
There's absolutely. They both know that going into this, they both got to have their heads in the game, and they've got to keep that win in sight.
I'm very wrong. I've been naming people the wrong thing the entire time, I think, but that's completely fine with me. So Saber, this is by far the most aggressive.
Absolutely.
The reason for that is, like in foil, you've got this priority where whoever starts first and commits to the attack first gets the point to the left there. But as well as that, it's so much easier to hit because of how you're literally hitting with the edge of the blade.
Absolutely, it's the
and
edge
you've
of the
got
blade
much
with
more
this rather than the
target.
point.
Exactly, it just puts the meta really on that attack.
Absolutely. Lancaster's now 2-0 up.
So going in, steps back and defends from the left, and then goes for that long attack. Misses, and a counter-attack from the right.
Oh, very nice. That's now 1-2 to Lancaster.
And if you see the fencer on the left waggle their finger as if they're telling off a dog, it's actually them saying that was a nice point, good job.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very camaraderie game, this. 2 for 2 now. These two are very, very evenly matched so far. And for those who can see it, it's very, very much more aggressive.
And an amazing
game.
parry from the right. So fencer on the left goes for an attack at the same time.
Oh,
Fencer
lovely.
on the right takes that block and hits.
3-2 now to York. They're really bringing that
attack
back.
from the left.
Now it's 3-3.
Bring it to 3-3.
3-all going into this next point. We shall see who gains the upper hand. They're on a much more even footing than we've seen in the last couple of ones. Now
And another attack on prep. So fencer on the left goes for a jump, starts messing around over
so that
with
makes 4-3 to York.
Absolutely.
Can definitely see where York's strengths lie in terms of which
weapon they have the most
weapon
confidence
they
so
have
far,
the most. So that's 4-all now.
And a miss from the right, going into that long attack.
Absolutely.
And another.
Oh,
wow!
very
a miss and a
nice
hit
shot.
immediately afterwards onto the wrist.
That's 5-4 to Lancaster at the end of that first round. York now going into this second round will know that they really need to keep getting these points.
Now, if you're watching this thinking, wow, they look very awkward walking around like crabs, you're absolutely right. It's very bad for your hips. You need a lot of physio. But on top of that, you'll notice that the fencers who are doing Saber will not be crossing their legs anywhere near as much as in the other sports. And that's actually because in the 90s it was allowed. And as it's so focused on the attack, what we had was basically these Russian giants, 6'2", sprinting at each other as fast as they could. And it was bad watching, a lot of concussions, a lot of blood spilled.
Yes, I can imagine. Very, very, very violent, I can imagine.
So the rule was introduced that for Saber, you wouldn't cross your legs. For the others, most of the time you don't, just to keep that control, keep that balance, because your sword's in one hand. If you've got that behind you because you crossed your legs,
absolutely,
you've got less reach, you've got less movement.
And then we see them just sorting out the equipment now as we go into the second round, and the score is currently 5-4 to Lancaster.
Fencer on the right, Daniel, is an extremely funny man. If you see him in the street, have a conversation with him. You won't regret it. Making the unconventional choice of fencing in Converse.
Very unconventional, that. We'll have to see whether it works out.
100%. And on this point, sadly, it doesn't. Goes for a last-minute counter-attack. We sort of call it a suicide counter-attack. It's when you're just not really sure what you can do. And then fencer on the left gets the hit.
Absolutely. That makes that 6-4 to Lancaster.
So an attack on prep there. Dan pushing for something a bit longer and gets the distance wrong.
Yeah, again, 7-4 for Lancaster.
And you can see priorities on the left. Fencer's going down, pushing, and gets that hit.
Oh, again, very, very clean game from Lancaster so far this round. We're up to 8-4 with very nice form.
Oh, and an attack from the right this time, fencer on the left. Effectively, what happens is whoever goes first gets the point. So if you make a big mistake of any kind,
then
you then lose that priority.
Oh, yeah.
Goes for a counter-attack parry and then whacks Daniel right across the chest.
Yeah, so we're now 9-5 going into this next point.
Oh, interesting. I think that's attack from the right, yes.
Yeah, very nice clean attack from both sides, just going to York. That makes 6-9. This is a much more aggressive game than the last.
Nice through cut there.
10-6 to Lancaster. It was a very nice game, very clean attacks from both sides. Ultimately, Lancaster coming out just with the small advantage there.
Now, if you're remembering earlier where I said that only sort of lethal or incapacitating hits would qualify, you'll be thinking, well, how do you test that for Saber?
Yeah.
And it's a good question to ask. And the answer is it used to be that you had a little weight, a little magnet inside, and you had to hit with a certain amount of force to get the magnet to move.
Yes.
And I don't know why they stopped it, but thank the Lord they did, because it was extremely painful.
I imagine that was probably why they've stopped it. And we've got them setting up their equipment.
The nice thing about Saber as well is if something breaks, it just is broken, you just replace it, it's fine.
Yeah,
Whereas for foil and Epee, you've got these wires that feed all the way down the blade, and they take hours to replace. So you need a hairdryer or a heat gun, rather, basically a hairdryer, and some pliers.
Very complicated process.
Yeah. Have to
Much
be a little
easier
electrical
equipment
engineer.
with this one, yeah.
And this time, fencer on the left seems to make a mistake, but
Immediate
gets the point
attack.
anyway.
That makes 11-6. The much more aggressive, much quicker discipline. This 11-6, 12-6.
Definitely. Both fencers a little more
To
awkward. These are
Lancaster. Oh, absolutely. Lancaster's really eking these points out. 13-6 now. A much more aggressive attack. A much more
so fencer on the right
definitive move.
really needs to come up with something to do.
Absolutely.
You can't just go backwards like that. You
This
can't
is
just wait.
Lancaster's got a much more definitive move going on
It's
here.
like looking at someone with a gun and saying, yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely, and that's now 15-6 for Lancaster.
Very quick match.
A very quick match. The
Not much
strategy
strategically happened
was
there.
much stronger on Lancaster's side there, unfortunately, for York. They really need to be coming into these matches with a strategic idea set and ready to go.
You're exactly right, Emily. They'll probably be sat down now talking about what to do, what to focus on, what to do next time.
Absolutely, they're going to be getting ready, immediately ready for this next one. Coming into it with much more defensive moves. You see them sorting out their equipment now, having a bit of a pep talk with their team. I imagine throwing a little bit of strategy around as they come into this next match. See if they can claw back that 15-6 lead that Lancaster currently have.
So testing now, just checking that the kit works as
Absolutely.
usual, plugging in.
There we go, testing the kit, exchanging some nice words of support, I imagine. We'll be going into this, and we'll hopefully both players have their strategies ready this time.
And if you're watching this thinking this looks pretty interesting and you want to see some real sharp
very
fencing,
nice.
tune in later for the women's ones match and the open match, where you can see some extraordinary levels of skill.
Oh, absolutely. We're now 16-6. And both are ready to go. There we go.
And a lovely
Immediate
attack from the
point
left.
to Lancaster.
Daniel gets the distance wrong, hasn't got quite that clarity he needs.
Absolutely. We're now 17-6 with a very clean, sharp attack from Lancaster.
And with these unconventional movements, fencer on the left taking a bit of control.
Oh, absolutely.
Trying to make it as awkward as possible for the right
18-6
fencer.
now, and the York player really will want to
And a
be
big
coming
thump
up with a
in the
new
head.
strategy.
Now, if you've got hit in the head in fencing, it's because you've both got the distance badly wrong and it's both of your faults. And another punch in the face. They really need to sort this out.
They really do. We're now 18-8 to Lancaster.
Lovely compound attack. Goes for a hit to
Absolutely
head.
lovely.
Fencer on the right blocks that head, goes that upwards parry, and then fencer goes to the, on the
Very
left, goes
clean.
round.
It's now 19-8.
Fencer on the right has their arm
20-8.
back. As a result, they're not really attacking. Fencer on the left gets
Absolutely
attack on
lovely
preparation.
match from Lancaster there. Very aggressive and immediate control of the round.
As Emily says, very quickly picks it up.
Absolutely.
Just takes control.
York really need to look at their strategy going into these games if they want to get that upper hand from back from Lancaster.
Definitely.
We're just setting up the equipment now for our next round, and I imagine that York really need to keep their head in this game now that we're 20-8 to Lancaster. And I imagine that the Lancaster fencers are very happy with the lead they've got going into this next round. There we go. Just tested their equipment, and now we'll be ready to go.
On the left. They know they've got this. They know that they've got this match in the bag.
Absolutely. So far we've seen a lot of very quick attacks from Lancaster. It'll be interesting to see whether this continues into this match. And they're off. And
so fence on the left goes in, stops, makes the miss, and then goes for that riposte. Very nice, very
immediately,
clean.
very nice. 21-8 to Lancaster.
Fencer on the left goes for a quick attack. Fencer
very
on the right
nice.
gets that hit. Very nice,
So we're
very
now
precise hit on the wrist.
9-21. York's fencer has really taken watching those other matches into account now, and is bringing that forward into this game.
Fencer on the left will be wanting to calm down, keep things a bit more in control.
Absolutely, we're now on 10-21.
Probably
with
they'll
another point
realise it
from
after
York.
one or two more points of it not
Definitely,
quite
that
working.
But York definitely have the upper hand so far in this match. Now 11
Absolutely.
to 21.
We might see Fencer on the left pause. Yeah, they're having a bit more of a think now.
Absolutely,
They know.
they've really got to rethink this strategy they've gone into this game with.
Tried out a make miss again, same thing as last time.
Absolutely.
This time they get the attack because Fencer on the right was a bit too hesitant taking it up.
Absolutely, it's now 22 to 11. They've definitely thought this strategy through.
Point from the right again, little wrist hit.
That's now 12 to 22. York is really pushing this forwards.
A lot faster paced, a lot harder to keep up
Absolutely,
with.
they've definitely got this attack strategy sorted for this match, one that they haven't had so far.
Ooh, interesting. So Fencer on the left tries to go for a beat, hits too close to the guard, so it
And
just
the point
becomes a
goes
block
to
for
the right. So that's
Exactly.
13 to 22. We're definitely seeing a much more thought-out attack from York so far, with the advantage.
This time gets the beat,
Yeah,
takes control, gets priority and hits. Possibly the referee got
Absolutely.
the previous one wrong and has this time spotted it.
23 to 13, that makes our score to Lancaster. And again, another point to York, making that 14 to 23. Lancaster are definitely going to want to be rethinking this strategy they've come into this game with.
100%. You can see they're sort of rushing it. They're a bit tenser,
Oh,
actually. They're not taking the
definitely.
time to reset at the moment.
They're not as calm as their previous ones, and that's
As a result, another
now
counter-attack to York.
absolutely. So that's now 15 to 23 to York. They're really pulling this match back. Oh, and we've lost a wire. There we go. And that's definitely given Lancaster a moment to pause and think about the strategy going into this next point. Not that it's succeeded.
Very nice,
York
very
is
nice.
now on 16 to 23. They really are pulling this back.
Exactly, not giving any space.
Absolutely not.
And another one threw away the attack at the same time, going backwards, rushing it. And then the York fencer gets the attack.
Oh, very nice. Now 17 to 23. I know that the Lancaster fencer is definitely got more worried than they came into this match with.
So this is likely because Artem is the anchor for the Yorks team, so they'll be the strongest fencer.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
It's quite possible the Lancaster team, seeing how much of a lead they had, came in quite confident.
Oh,
this
definitely.
time,
We're now,
slight change. They don't
Yeah.
throw away the attack in the same place, they extend.
we're now 24 to 18. Both teams having just got a point each. And they're definitely reading each other. The round's going on for much longer now. That's now 25 to 18 to Lancaster. A very nice round that.
So 20 points left before the match is over.
Absolutely. And that was a very nice pullback from York then.
You can see the York team's a little bit more heated, a bit more warmed up. They're looking forward to this a bit
Absolutely.
more. They know that the match is technically over, but are still
But there's still
here for fun.
points to be had, and there's still rounds to be won.
Do you know whether or not if York win or lose this match, it affects the points they get from the game overall? Because I'm not sure, Emily.
I don't know. That would be a question for...
Be a question for us, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
probably. Potentially a question for one of the players after the game.
Very, very good idea.
But absolutely, coming into this, Lancaster will definitely have been shaken by York's performance in that last one. Quite possibly the most aggressive performance we've seen from York so far.
Absolutely. We've got another Daniel on the right this time.
Absolutely.
Both with long hair, easily mistaken.
Nicely pointed out by their socks. And we'll be excited to see who really has the upper hand here. And again,
Point to
straight
the
to
left.
Lancaster, 26 to 18. We're really seeing that aggression coming through.
So Daniel will want to have... and absolutely, he's going back. He went for a counter-attack. It didn't necessarily pay off. Oh, well, no, it did. The offensive misses,
Yeah,
and then he
that's
gets the
now
point.
19 to 26. York really are pulling this back. And really...
So this time, both fencers miss, and the Lancaster fencer takes it up first.
Absolutely. So that's 27 to 19.
Very, very clean from the Lancaster fencer.
That's
Beautiful
now-
parry,
yeah,
beautiful compound attack.
It's now 28 to 19. Lancaster really is gaining back that upper hand they've had this entire round so far, really.
Another nice clean hit to wrist,
Absolutely.
29-19.
Oh, very
Amazing.
nice.
An unexpected counter-attack. You don't want to generally be
Absolutely.
going backwards too much unless you've got a clear plan.
No, but
Puts you in a
very
weaker
obviously,
position.
very much had a clear plan, and it's now 20 to 29
Exactly
to
as you say,
York.
Emily.
Very nice use of strategy there. One
And
that
a
has
big parry riposte from the left. Fencer on the left wins,
Very
making
nice.
it 30-20.
Absolutely. So Lancaster really is coming in with their strategies already laid out perfectly for them.
Daniel, big grin as he walks off, knowing he got some very, very nice points there.
Oh, definitely. York are going to appreciate every point that they can gain from here.
Regardless
from
of
here
whether or
on
not,
out.
we don't know whether or not it will contribute to the overall points.
No, we don't. But absolutely, it's still going out there, getting their points. The score is currently 30-20 to Lancaster, as the next two fencers set up to have their round.
So we've got 3 more matches left until the end of the M2's team.
Twos, yeah.
And then later on, I believe it's at 5 o'clock. It might be at 5 o'clock. We've got both the open first and the women's first team fencing.
Absolutely. So stick around and you will see some more fencing. As for now, we have both of our fencers setting up, and they'll be testing that their sabers are both set up properly in the middle before taking their positions for the beginning of their round. York will definitely be coming into this wanting to win out a few more points. Lancaster with a 10-point lead currently will be feeling very secure in their position as leaders. And immediately, first point goes to Lancaster, 31-20.
Definitely.
Very nice, clean, aggressive attack.
A little bit of variation there, changing up the tempo and going for a compound attack.
So that's now 32-20. Lancaster pulling ahead in this next round.
So both fencers go in at the same time. Neither of them gets the point. Both lights go on.
Absolutely.
Fencer on the left goes backwards,
32-20.
and Fencer on the right gets that long attack.
Very nice. That's now 21-32. York's really beginning to anticipate that strategy and to defend against it.
And a tragic moment. Fencer on the right goes for a parry, doesn't get it. Mal parry, point to the Lancaster fencer.
Absolutely. 33-21 now to Lancaster.
Same thing. Variation on the long attack there. Variation
We're
on
now
that
on
compound attack.
34-21.
Daniel at this point just throwing away that point. He probably needs to think of a new strategy.
They really need to come up with these new strategies.
This match is over.
Fantastic lead from Lancaster then. Absolutely immediate aggression. A fantastic strategy that York really needs to start pulling together and anticipating.
And if you think it's warm outside, it is very warm in that kit.
It is very warm in that kit. And they really must be feeling it now.
Have you ever kept bees? No?
No.
Right, it's a little bit like being in a beakeeper costume. I know it does look like it, but genuinely it's the same sensation.
Very warm, I imagine.
Yes, yeah.
And they're definitely feeling that now going into our...
Think wearing 3 towels additionally on top of your clothes on a summer's day.
Yeah.
And then you're having to sprint constantly. It's
very tiring.
A brutal sport.
And they're all doing very well to keep this energy and this pace up as they go into the next round. And we're really beginning to see it. Lancaster really pulling away with 35-21.
Fencer on the left being a little bit goofy as per usual, and then
Absolutely.
Fencer on the right not taking that opportunity, standing still, and Fencer on the left taking the attack.
They really need to be bringing in that strategy now.
Daniel really needs to stay focused here.
Absolutely.
And we're expecting something else that's a bit silly, but no, nice, clean, normal
Very
attack.
Nice. We're now 37-21 for Lancaster.
Lancaster possibly feeling a little bit bad for the York team and trying not to be too cruel.
Absolutely. Now 38-21. Lancaster really is coming out of the gates with these very strong attacks and that are really pointing in their favour.
Nice on attack preparation from the left.
Absolutely.
So Daniel
now,
not quite so clear on what he wants.
Absolutely. We're now 39-21.
Same thing, but throws it away. Really needs more clarity, needs more of a plan.
We definitely have York kind of calming down now. They really need to be keeping that head in the game. 39-22 now.
Attack from the left, very clear, very sharp.
Very nice match.
40-22.
Lancaster are playing very well today, and York must really be feeling that pressure to keep up the side.
And we've now got the anchor match on, so this will be the 2 best fencers. Still worth watching at this stage just to see.
Oh, absolutely.
Just to see them battling it out.
Absolutely.
There's definitely the opportunity to lose or gain face here.
Oh, definitely.
They'll be walking into the club next week thinking that went well, or don't look at me.
This will absolutely be an interesting one to watch, with both of them best at this discipline.
And maybe no points are on the line, but people's dignity definitely is.
Oh, definitely. But
And isn't that really what sport's about?
it really is, especially at this point. But York are coming in, hopefully having taken in from the last couple of matches where they're at and bringing that strategy in, as Lancaster have been doing very consistently this entire time.
You hear the room getting heated, getting excited.
Absolutely, Lancaster. That support from Lancaster is really critical at this moment for them.
Go Lancs. And
Oh,
an
very
amazing
nice.
clear parry riposte from Lancaster.
A very
nice.
immediate attack, 41-22 to Lancaster,
With that
very
kind of brutality,
clean.
Artem will be thinking about that in bed tonight. And
absolutely.
An accidental lucky reprise there from
And that's now
Artem.
23-41 for Lancaster.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a parry, but I'm not sure we'd look at that and think it was anything beautiful there.
No, that's now 42-23. Oh, a
Good
very
attempt,
nice
good
shot
attempt.
from Lancaster. That's now 43-23. Really nice, aggressive movements, securing them each point.
And a beat attack from the left.
And we've
losing
lost a wire.
Losing the head mask wire.
A short
flies across the room.
Short reprieve to reattach that. We're now at 44-23 to Lancaster. Lancaster's fencer must really be feeling happy with this score so far, and York must really be feeling the pressure of this last point.
So progressing towards the right, Lancaster fencer has priority.
Absolutely. Oh, and
a
there's a point to
counter-attack.
York. Very
3 points of
nice.
dignity regained. He will be able to go to bed happy.
Absolutely. That's now 24-44 with a very nice attack from York. And there it
beautiful
is.
attack
There we
from
have
Lancaster.
it. That's 45-24 to Lancaster with a very clean attack.
Fantastic fight. Very nice to see.
Absolutely, very
Both
nice.
fencers doing some beautiful points.
And they'll be Lancaster will be going home happy, having won every discipline we've seen today. And a very nice show.
I'd almost missed that. Yeah, absolutely.
And a very nice show of sportsmanship. We're shaking hands and congratulating each other. Lancaster must be feeling very pleased.
You can see like
with the
pigeons, they all bump
results.
into each other. They're not quite sure how to walk around each other. They're not used to walking in a 3D space rather than in just one straight line.
Absolutely, Lancaster now celebrating that win. Very happy faces all around, and York will be coming back to discuss their strategy going forwards.
Definitely. At the moment, it's definitely time to go home, have a drink,
absolutely.
have a think. So I think at this point we need to start finding some people for interviews. Is that right?
Absolutely. We'll be doing some after-match interviews with Lancaster, see how they're feeling about their win. Very happy, I imagine. Can see a lot of pleased faces down there.
Standing up straight with their shoulders back,
Absolutely.
looking pretty happy.
I know York must be feeling this loss. That's now 2 years in a row they've lost the fencing, which very unfortunate for the team, especially for those
It
who
is
are...
hard being a York fencer at the moment. There's no doubt about it.
Especially for those who have been to a couple